The other day, someone asked me, "What do you want to be in 10 years?" My answer? Retired. That got quite a reaction since most people my age are planning to work for at least another 20 to 40 years before they can even think about approaching retirement. But retiring in 10 years is completely possible. In fact, in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can go from having nothing in the bank in a fairly typical job to being retired and free by 2032. Are you ready? Let's get to it. The first technique that will help you retire in 10 years is your ability to save money. Most people don't realize that when it comes to financial independence, the amount of money you save is all that matters. You'd be surprised how many people are making $250,000 a year but still living paycheck to paycheck. Why? Because they spend it all on extravagant real estate, luxury cars, or $20,000 vacations they can brag about on Instagram. But on the other hand, there are those who earn $80,000 a year, and because they save half of their after-tax income, they are worth more than someone earning 10 times as much. Did you know you can determine how long it will take you to retire in less than a minute? Here's an example. If you spend 100% of your salary, then obviously you will never be able to retire, since you will always be left with nothing. But if you save 25% of your income, you will be able to retire in 32 years, even keeping your present cost of living. If you save 50% of your income, you can retire in 17 years. And if you save 70%, you can retire in just 8.5 years. The concept is simple. If you save a bigger percentage of your salary, you will achieve financial freedom and accomplish anything you want sooner. The rich stay wealthy by acting poor, and the poor remain poor by appearing rich. You must do anything necessary to save more money and live within your means. Remember that every 5% increase in income allows you to retire several years sooner, so every penny counts. When most people hear this, they immediately think of an episode of Extreme Cheapskates. Sure, that helps, but you don't have to go to such lengths to save money. There are other methods to save without being a shut-in. Housing is the biggest expense, often taking up to half of one's salary. However, there is a much better solution that allows you to cut back on this expense. It is called house hacking. This is when you buy a multifamily property and then live on one side while renting out the other. When done correctly, the other units cover the entire cost of owning the property, and you end up with what amounts to a free residence. To do this, you need to save up a 10 to 20% down payment. But even if you don't have that money right now, you can also save money by rent hacking, which is when you rent a property and then sublet the rooms to pay the monthly costs. Even if you don't own the house, you can still save money and use it towards some of the other expenses. Of course, if you want to improve your financial game, don't forget to subscribe to Finance Spark, where we upload videos every week to help you ignite your financial mindset. While you're at it, don't forget to tap the bell icon to be notified whenever we post a new video. If you want to retire in 10 years, here are a few effective strategies. First, instead of buying the newest car in the market that may depreciate over time, buy a dependable second-hand car with less depreciation. Next, discover how to use credit card sign-up incentives to offset the expense of flights and lodging. The third strategy is to prepare food at home instead of eating out. And fourth, wait for the thing you want to buy to go on sale. Honestly, no one is going to know the difference between something you paid full price for and something you got at 50% off. But here is the most critical strategy for retiring in 10 years. Avoid high-interest loans. These are financial independence's kryptonite. Most people have no idea how much high-interest debts, such as medical debt and student loans, hold you back. For example, just to break even on most unsecured debt, you'll need up to 15 or 20% of your income every year. Not very likely. Debt like this pulls you further away from your goal. So avoid high interest rate debt at all costs. The only debt that is reasonable are those that help you generate more money through a business or investment. In those situations, taking on debt can help you get closer to financial freedom. If you want to succeed with early retirement, you'll need to learn to invest. For most, The best method to invest is to first take advantage of your 401k, Roth IRA, and HSA accounts, each which has big tax savings. Second, invest consistently over time by putting a certain amount of your paycheck into investments. Third, regardless of market conditions, do not attempt to beat the market. Fourth, buy a low-cost or no-cost index fund that tracks the entire market. For these, I advise taking advantage of the low rates offered by Vanguard, Schwab, and Fidelity. Finally, wait. Allow the market to work its magic, and over the long term, prices tend to rise. The reality is, if you start with nothing and want to retire in 10 years, you'll either have to produce a lot more money or spend a lot less, or both. Your ability to retire in 10 years without producing any more money is contingent on your ability to save 65% of your income for a decade. If you can do that, your financial goal is complete. Assuming you don't want to live on the very minimum and want a middle-class lifestyle after 10 years, doing a typical job is unlikely to get you there unless it pays well. But if you want to retire in 10 years and make a lot of money, my advice is to work in a field where you are compensated for your results rather than your time. The greatest issue with getting paid for your time is that there are only 24 hours in a day. So you'll ultimately reach a limit on how many hours you can work or how much income you can make. If you're paid for your results rather than your time, you will be able to find ways to streamline your work to earn more money without more working hours. Working in a profession where you can utilize your skills to generate more income without putting in more effort has a significant impact on your bottom line. If you're 20 years old and want to retire at the age of 30, you'll need to invest $1,650,000. That means, based on a $150,000 pre-tax salary, you would need to live on just $22,000 per year during your 20s. Of course, investments can help speed things up. For example, if you save $50,000, you could use it to buy and renovate a $250,000 home. If you discover the right deal, strategic restoration work might improve the house's worth to $300,000, and you'll have doubled your initial investment. But that is just one example of leveraging your money to work for you. In future videos, I'll explore this topic a bit more, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out. Let's face it, if you've already saved as much as you can and have no disposable cash, your only option is to boost your income by learning a new skill, marketing yourself around the job market, or starting a side hustle. After all, it's all about the numbers when it comes to retiring in 10 years. You can work backward to a goal retirement date in 10 years by cutting your spending while increasing your income. You know, it is pretty amazing when you think about it. We've all been conditioned to think that we have to wait until we're old and gray-haired to live a life of freedom, but that just isn't the case. Not if you're strategic in your approach to an early retirement. How about you? Do you plan to retire in 10 years? Are you already on the path? Share your journey in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching this video. You guys are awesome. And remember, always keep sparking your financial mindset.